Hello and welcome. My name is AJ Ansari. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and today I'm going to be talking to you about relationship management in Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. The relationship management module is essentially Business Central's CRM functionality. We have a lot of capabilities that are native to the system with relationship management, so if you don't already have a CRM system in place, this could be a great place for you to get started. It should give you some of the core necessities that your sales organization is going to need to be organized and to be productive. Now, if you have more complex needs, there is always Microsoft's standalone offering for CRM, which is known as Dynamics 365 for Sales. This app can also integrate to Business Central. It's great, it's robust, but like I said, if you don't already have a CRM system in place, relationship management is very likely going to check a lot of boxes. If you need help deciding which one's the right solution for you, reach out to us. Our email address and our website is shown at the end of this presentation. Let's get started. So, what does relationship management in Business Central carry? It all starts with contact management. Contact management allows you to create contacts of type company or person, and these contacts can then be associated with customers, vendors, bank accounts, and used all across the system. Opportunity management. Opportunities or tracking opportunities is very central to any CRM system. This is probably one of the things that more sales forces require. Managers need to have visibility into all that's in the funnel, how it's progressing, what type of realized dollar value these represent, when deals will close, and after they've been closed, whether they've been won or lost, how much and when and why. Those are all important metrics to track. As they say, what you can't measure, you can't improve. The third aspect is campaigns and marketing. Campaign management, or more specifically within it, special pricing for the purpose of campaigns, is something that Business Central can also help with. There is some light marketing and sales automation capability, but this perhaps is one area where the capability is rudimentary. And if you're looking for more robust capabilities, this is where Dynamics 365 for Sales will probably be a lot more valuable and a better solution for your business. And last but not least, Outlook integration. You'll find that Microsoft has done a great job in integrating some of the core productivity tools you use, from business applications like Business Central to tools like Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft Word, and Microsoft Excel. Specifically in today's presentation, we'll explore a couple of great touch points that tie in Outlook to Business Central. Let's start with contact management. With contact management, you're able to create leads in the system. You create a contact. That contact can eventually be converted to a customer or a vendor as you do business with them. Each contact can have each company contact can have an unlimited number of individual or personal type of contacts. You can segment and classify these contacts. And what I mean by this is you can define relationships. What type of role does this individual play? What type of organization is this? So when you need to decide who you're going to reach out to or get a filtered list or a selection of a handful of customers or individuals that meet certain criteria, all C-level executives, all procurement managers, or so on, or all procurement managers within manufacturing businesses that you do business with. That type of detail can easily be stored in and then used to get a classification of contacts on demand. And then lastly, the ability to track interactions and create action items or to-dos for your team when they are working with contacts. Opportunity management is the second facet. In opportunity management, one of the most important things that Business Central is able to do for you is help you manage your sales pipeline. And it does this by breaking things down that you have, or all the opportunities that you have, into various sales cycles. And I'll explain that a little bit more in my demonstration. But for now, hold that idea of sales cycles. And each sales cycle can further be broken down by stages. Now, this one's really easy to explain here. So what are different things that happen over the life cycle of an opportunity? You may have some initial conversations. You may have a small discovery call. You may have an estimate delivered to them. You may have a presentation and other things before they ultimately decide if they're going to buy or not. And so you can have different types of stages by different sales cycles that you record in the system. Now, without CRM, most systems will give you the ability to create a sales quote. And that sales quote ultimately becomes a sales order, which becomes invoiced and shipped and so on, and fulfilled, rather, for lack of a better word. Now, over here with Business Central's relationship management, you have opportunities that contain quotes. Why would you want opportunities as opposed to just quotes? Well, for the simple reason that when you have a quote and that quote goes nowhere, the customer or the prospect decides they're not going to buy, you're eventually going to have to delete that quote at some point. Otherwise, you're just going to be left with a clutter of sales quotes, and it's going to become very difficult to manage. So when you delete these sales quotes, you're going to be left with absolutely no record or detail of what you had in the pipeline earlier this year, why you lost what you lost. Surely whatever you win would eventually become from a quote to a sales order. But here in Business Central's relationship management, you can track with opportunities all the wins and all the losses, and you can also assign close codes or reason codes, for lack of a better word, as to why and when you won and lost. So now you can have better clarity and reporting on all the different opportunities, when you're winning, how often you're winning, and what you can do to improve. And just as with contact management, within the scope of opportunities, you can also create and track interactions. You can assign to-dos and action items to people within your team. So although not as robust as Dynamics 365 for Sales, the standalone app, Business Central will let you do this as well. Number 3, sales campaigns. So within the scope of sales campaigns, one of the things that you're going to be able to accomplish is setting special prices and discounts. Now, special prices can be for a customer or a group of customers, and these special prices can be something that kick in when a certain quantity of an item is purchased. You can date bind those so that you're only making them available within certain date ranges, and so on. And of course, you can also tie them to a specific campaign, so they're only available when that campaign is active and that campaign information is used. Similarly, discounts can also be used. So these are percentage-based discounts that can automatically kick in. And these discounts can be for a customer or group of customers, all customers within a certain date range or within the context of a campaign. And further, not just for a specific item, but also for a family of items, since these are percentage-based discounts. These prices and discounts can be used within or outside the scope of campaigns and are very powerful and are very easy to use in Business Central. I talked about this earlier in the introduction slide, contact segments and how we can create and manage them. But the ability to use the segmentation that you've applied to individual or company style contacts, and then to be able to pick them out so that you can easily identify the right type of demographic for the campaigns you're running, that is very powerful. And then you can dispatch what information you need to do using mail merge type of templates within Business Central. Now, I should also mention over here that these segments can also be used for recalls. So it's not just for selling more. You could use this for maybe all customers that bought a certain product and then try to upsell or cross-sell, or all customers that bought a certain product. If that product turns out to be faulty and you have a recall, that's also a great use case for how you would apply contact segments within the framework of a campaign. And finally, like I told you earlier, what you can't measure, you can't improve. So Business Central is going to give you the ability to track campaign revenue, costs, and ultimately profitability. Lastly, Outlook integration. Now, most systems will give you some ability to integrate your ERP system to your mail system. Now, when you're using Office 365 from Microsoft or Microsoft 365 and you're using Business Central, you're going to find that in real time, you can take an email that's come in from a customer or a prospect that's requesting a quote, and you'd be able to create that quote without leaving the comfort of Outlook. You can create an order. You can track invoices. You'd be also able, if there's something coming in from a vendor, to record an invoice very quickly into Business Central. You can synchronize your contacts between Outlook and Business Central as well. It could be from Outlook to BC, from BC to Outlook, or both ways. And this is a phenomenal value. This is going to be so useful for your sales team. Instead of having to look in two different places for contacts, they can have one synchronized book of contacts. And lastly, by allowing you to do all these functions related to Business Central from inside of Outlook, you're getting some other benefits. And one of those is customer insights. So when a customer emails you, or a contact from a customer emails you, you can not just create a quote or an order, but you can also see how much they have in receivables and how much of that is overdue, how much have you sold them over the last year or over a lifetime, how many invoices there are, how many open quotes are in progress, and so on and so forth. And all of this is available at the fingertips of your salespeople just because you're using Outlook and Business Central. So, with all of that information, let's go very quickly into a high-level overview. I should point out that I'm only going to be touching the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more detail that we can provide, and for the best value and use of your time, what we would recommend is reaching out to us so that we can have a short discovery call, understand the specific nature of requirements that your business has, and then prepare a demonstration to those specific needs. Business Central's relationship management is really easy to configure and deploy, and the learning curve is not steep at all. So this could be something that gets deployed very quickly, but it's still at the same time we want to make sure that it's configured and deployed so that it provides the best value for your organization. So with that, let's jump into our demonstration. I am going to be working in Business Central in the cloud. I'm logged into a company called Cronus USA. That's my fictitious company, and I am John Smith for the purpose of this demonstration. John's a sales manager, and John's role center here is set as a sales and relationship manager role center. For anybody who's used Business Central already, you know we have a lot of different role centers. There's a sales order processor role center, purchasing one, and accounting one. There's a business manager type that's a hodgepodge of a lot of different things. But here, as sales and relationship management manager role center, you're going to find that it surfaces all the things that you typically see in a CRM system to the very top. Contacts, opportunities, quotes and orders, ability to track customers, items, segments, and campaigns that we talked about, and also actions such as creating a new quote, an order, an invoice are right here. You find some insights here. You find your funnel visualized, and this is where I will take a minute to explain to you what sales cycles are and why you might want to have more than one. So let's take a look at the existing sales cycle, which is one of the demo sales cycle types that I have in my system. When we configure this for you, we can configure this any way you like. It could have different names, different types of sales cycles. But we're assuming that when we work with an existing customer on a new sales opportunity, there are only a handful of things we need to do. We go through a discovery phase, we go through a presentation, potentially a proposal, and then a signing of contract if everything goes forward. Now, we don't need to vet them. They've probably established credit worthiness. We've already got them set up in the account, in the system, So those things we don't need to do again. Now, let's contrast this with an example of a brand new sales cycle. This is where we might need to qualify first for BANT. We might need to go through an initial phase, qualification, and so on and so forth. And so different sales cycles can have different sales cycle stages. You can, through reporting, see how many are there in each sales cycle, within each sales cycle stage, how many of each sales cycle we've won. And when you're looking at the funnel too, you can hover over one of these and you'd be able to see how many opportunities are in each of these different stages of the funnel. And if you find that you need to know more, let's select presentation for instance, it will show you what these three are, and then you can look at the opportunity card if you need to see more. Scroll down a little bit and you'll find that we've also got opportunities sliced by salespeople. Now you could have different views, but these are in-progress opportunities by salespeople. And because it's a demonstration system, we only have some data for about an opportunity each for these, and some of these are not properly assigned to salespeople and so on. You also see activity queues. Anybody who's used Business Central knows how valuable they can be because they'll let you jump to a filtered set of lists. So contacts broken down by companies, or contacts broken down by persons, duplicates, or things that are overdue, or things you're doing well on. And anytime you click on one of these lists, it's going to take you to that specific filtered view. So activity queues are a quick way, it's kind of like a jump list, if you will, of things that you might want to get to very quickly. Let's get back to our role center. There are a lot of other things in here, and I think in the interest of time, because we want to keep this high level, I'll keep moving on. Let's jump into the first part of the demonstration that I want to show outside of our role center, and that is contacts. So let's go to contacts, and let's specifically look at contacts all. Now, because I was looking at companies a second ago, it kept it filtered on companies. I'm going to go to contacts and all. And you'll see there's a hierarchy where it shows in bold contacts and some contacts that are not. So the ones that are in bold represent a company. And all the ones that are not bold that are stacked below it are individual contacts that belong to this company. You can have an infinite number of contacts per company. Now, these company contacts could either be related to a customer, a vendor, or they could be related to a bank account or so on. Largely in the context of this discussion, we would probably stick with the discussion around customers for now. And if I wanted to look at a Datum Corporation, click on it and you will see some core information about a Datum. You see that it's a company. You see the salesperson code, salesperson that's assigned to this. And you can create or manage relationships that exist with this particular contact, what organization type they belong to, or mailing groups they belong to, etc., and what have you. You can also look at any attachments that have been put up there or attached documents. You can have tasks or things that you can manage or look at history. Scroll down, you've got your address information, email, webpage, and all the regular stuff. And if this customer or contact is located outside of the primary region, or in our case, the United States, you can also have a foreign currency code or territory code, etc. And you can define if communications need to be in another language. I'm going to pick another particular one here that I've made earlier today, and that one is going to be around gaskets. So it's a company called Superior Gaskets, and when I look at it, we've had some website, phone number, and all of that stuff created. And then I also have an individual contact, Lois Simpson, who is associated. And so when I look at Lois's contact card, I can see that it's marked person, unlike the previous one, which was marked company for Superior Gaskets. So let's navigate back to Lois's record. Here, Lois is a procurement manager, so we have her tied to the organization level code manager. We can see the salesperson is associated to Lois. It's actually the same salesperson as the one for the master account. Address, we have her unique email address, and so on. Now, if I wanted to create one more contact for Superior Gaskets, I click on the plus icon and type in the name. And then I would select person, and I could select a company name. So drop down, or I can just start typing Superior Gaskets. By default, it'll inherit the same salesperson. I can change it if I'd like to. I can define what role this person plays, and so Chief Financial Officer. Now, it just so happens that the way this demonstration organization level codes were set up is they're very specific. In most deployments, we find we create a level code of C-suite versus directors or managers and sales, procurement, accounting, and so on. And so payables, receivables. So you could, for the purpose of, for the sake of argument, assume this said more along the lines of C-suite, and then we were more specific about the job title. The address got inherited from Superior Gaskets' main account, and even the email address did. And all I have to do is I can come over here and change this so that I have very specifically Stuart's email and probably Stuart's phone. Communicating in English. If I had a foreign currency code or so on, I could do that. If I had any attachments, I would be able to attach those as well. And there is a lot more that we can accomplish over here, but for the purpose of discussion, let's just go ahead and keep moving. Now, whenever I create contacts, in this particular case, we've actually got the Superior Gaskets contact associated with the customer. If it wasn't already associated with the customer, we could have done that very easily while we're working on an opportunity, while we're in a sales quote, or just right here manually by going to actions and creating as a customer. So we've already done it. We're not going to do it again. But if I wanted to get to the associated customer record when I'm looking at a contact, it's very easy. If I've already seen that this is of a business relations type customer, I could go to Navigate and Customer, and this would open the customer card on top of the contact card that I was on. So here I can see the customer for Superior Gaskets. I can see there's an ongoing sales order. I can see some more information about them. If there were any posted invoices or a balance, I'd be able to see that as well. Now, let's assume for a second that we want to record an opportunity that's arisen with Superior Gaskets. So back from my home screen, and I could have done this from inside the quote as well, but typically you're going to be in Business Central, you hear about an opportunity and you start to record it. So you go to Opportunities and you would hear Mark New. And we will go through just a couple of motions that happen in an opportunity instead of doing the entire full process. So let's type in a description, and this is going to be reception area office furniture. So Kronos USA sells a lot of furniture, so that's why we're going to kind of follow that route. You could specify a very specific individual, or you can select the company that you're going to be doing this for. So we are going to do this for our Superior Gaskets. Oh, I think I might have made a mistake here. Let me go back here. You can also search in here. So there you go. Now, if we want a different salesperson for this, I can choose a different salesperson who might be working on it. If this is within the framework of a campaign, I can define the campaign number and all that good stuff. First thing we need to do here is activate the first stage. And so this basically kicks off this opportunity. Nothing really is done at this point. There is no estimated value. We don't quite always know what's going to happen at this time, just that something is about to happen. Don't be freaked out by the 2019 dates. This is because we are in a demonstration environment and all the dates are backdated over to 2019. Now, as we go through the initial discussions, perhaps something happens and we want to record some interactions. We can do that. We want to attach some documents. We can do that. Record notes. We could even record some tasks that need to be recorded. So actually, that should be over here. Identify tasks that may need to be recorded and be able to go back and see all the things that are going on. Now, what do we do next? Let's progress this opportunity. So we can go into the update area, and this will allow us to either go to the next stage or skip a stage and go to the next one that we're allowed to. Let's just stay on the straight and narrow and say next stage. Now we have an opportunity to say, what do we think the estimated value of the sales is? So here, really, it's a back of the napkin type of thing at this point, right? Because we haven't quoted anything just yet. It's just from our conversation, we assume these are some of the things that are going to happen. Business Central lets you track chances of success based on and how far you've come within an opportunity, and all of those through some probability settings, which we can cover in a full-fledged demonstration. But for the purpose of this high-level demonstration, we'll keep moving along. We hit OK. And this now progresses this opportunity from the initial to the next stage, which is qualification. And we can see 1900, that value that we typed is over shown over here. Now let's assume at this point we've also gotten to a phase where we're ready to assign a sales quote. We've talked to the customer through the qualification process, learned a little bit more, and we know they need 10 soul chairs. And so we're going to go to create sales quote here. And it will take all the information that's contained within the opportunity to create a sales quote. And we need to populate very little at this time outside of just the specific items that we think they're going to buy. So 1988S, and we can go and select what we are putting in here. Now, if there were special prices or discounts, it would have automatically kicked in. You can also verify if they have special prices or discounts, and maybe this customer is not eligible for. Business Central makes it easy to do that. But here, I could also override and give somebody a discount. So they're quite clear, and I could either reduce the price or I could give a 1% discount if I want to. So now we're closer to 1908.72. Now, at this point, if I had any other information, I put that in. If I'd like to send this quote over to the customer, I could certainly send that as a email attachment straight from inside of Business Central, or print it out and send that the traditional way if that is what they're asking for. Any documents that come from them can also be attached here. Going back out of sales quotes, we're now back in the opportunity card. You'll notice that the sales document type quote shows along with a sales document number. And so now, anytime in the future when we want to refer to this quote again from the opportunity card, all we have to do is click on Show Sales Quote, and voila, that is there. Coming out of this screen, now let's assume that the customer is ready for the next stage. So we update this once more. Now this is all happening very quick on the same day. In a real world scenario, this would obviously take some time. And notice that I can now move them on to the next stage, its presentation. And now at this point, it no longer says 1900 that I'd loosely typed in as a back of the napkin number. It goes specifically to the sales quote and captures that number in the sales quote and brings that here. So now we have a more accurate reflection of what the estimated value is. Now, we can also, at this point, assume they saw the demonstration, they loved what we had to offer, and they decided they want to move forward with us. And so we can skip all other stages in the sales cycle and go straight to close, and that gives us the opportunity to mark something as won or lost. We're going to mark this as won, and we can select from one of many close opportunity codes. These are user defined. What I have here is just what I have in my demonstration system, but you can come up with ones that are specific to your business. So let's assume because we're selling furniture, it's a little bit of a commodity. Perhaps it was about the best price that got us a deal. And so we can put that in. The closing date is marked. If we need to change it, we can. We can cancel all outstanding tasks. Hit OK. Now we're back on this opportunity, and you notice this is marked as won or a closed opportunity. Closed is checked, so we can no longer make changes to this opportunity. Now, however, we can do all kinds of great reporting on it. The other thing too that we want to do when an opportunity is won is we want to progress this on the sales side. So instead of a quote, now we want to make this a sales order. So we could open this show sales quote, and we could process this to make this a sales order. Now at this point, if we were just working with a contact that did not have a customer record associated with it, we could also have created you could also have made a customer from the quote. So that's also an option. But let's just go ahead and say make order. This will now put a demand on inventory for these items. You'll be able to ship and fulfill these. You'll be able to collect prepayment against these sales orders and a whole lot more. So you have to move out of the sales quote phase at some point if this is moving forward. So now over here, you've got all of this information, and the opportunity code, when it exists, is automatically shown here. So there's that chain for continuous reporting. All of this information is also shown over here still, so that you have the most current info. And at this point, as the order progresses, much like you would with any other sales order in Nav, you would go through the fulfillment steps, whether that's shipping, invoicing, or some combination of both. Back here, the opportunity card once more, I see my sales document card type now shows as order, and the document number shows as sales order number. So that is a quick overview of the opportunities area. So we've looked at contacts, we've looked at opportunities. The third thing I want to touch on really quick is the Outlook integration and a couple of key aspects of that. So because I use Microsoft Outlook for my real world stuff, I'm going to use Outlook in the web or on the web. This works just as well as Outlook on the web or as on an installed version of Microsoft Outlook. I'm signed in as John. John's got a few emails that have come in, and for the purpose of demos, I've taken the ones I intend to use again and again and pinned them. So John's got a quote for soul chairs from one of his customers. And so it's from Stacy, and Stacy would like a quote for 3 soul chairs. John can come and click on the apps icon and select Business Central and load the contact insights. At this point, it's going to check Stacy's email against the Business Central database, and if it finds a match, it is going to load the appropriate customer. So now Stacy actually happens to work for A-Datum Corp. So it says, A-Datum Corp, this is your balance and this is how much it's past due, some documents that have been attached, and I can pull them up, the visual of the Age Accounts Receivable report, and how many open quotes or invoices or orders or shipments do they have going on, and a lot more in the way of these little fact box areas. But let's get to the task at hand, which is the customer would like us to send a quote for 3 soul chairs. So we can come over here and we click on New and say Sales Quote. Now, in real time, Business Central is going to be creating a quote in Outlook. Anybody who goes to Business Central will also be able to see this quote. So at this point, if I were to go to my sales quote area, SQUO 1083, SQUO 1083, which is what we are working on. So even though it's not fully populated, as soon as it created that record there, it also created that record in Business Central. And it's pretty much real time. So now this information is there, but really what we need is to be able to go back into Outlook and create this quote. So when I created that quote, you see it already populated the customer number and the address and all that other information. And then if I scroll down, I will see the ability to type in the lines. Business Central does have some great artificial intelligence capabilities and machine learning capabilities. And one of the ones that I have disabled here is the ability for Outlook to see what's in here and try to make sense of it. And if it can find sold shares, it would automatically add the line 3 sold shares. But since I have it disabled, I can always just type that information in. And then I go over to the quantity field, quantity 3. If I want to add or change anything, I can do that. Other than that, I should be ready to send this quote. Now again, to send this quote, I do not need to leave Business Central. I can simply come over here to the 3 dots, which gives me all these other options. And here I can say send by email. And what that's going to do is it'll pop up a little window. And that pop-up window is going to have the PDF attachment. And it will have a pre-created mail template that you can manage. So you can edit that here, or you can also permanently change what that default template looks like and behaves like. And so here, sales quote 01083, and all that is right over here. So Business Central helps you work smarter, not harder. And now at this point, if I'd like to send this on to the customer, I simply hit send and my job is done. So that is how easy it is for us to work with Business Central and Outlook together. Let's start to recap. We saw contact management, we saw opportunity management, and we saw the Business Central Outlook integration at a glance. There is so much more depth really in each of those areas, but I want to make sure that we are being respectful of everybody's time. We don't want this to be a very long, drawn-out demo, but we could certainly arrange a bespoke demonstration for you based on your needs and requirements. Please contact us for that at www.dswius.com, or you can write us at info@dswius. Once again, my name is AJ Ansari. I'm a Microsoft MVP at DSWi, and we look forward to helping you. Take care, and thank you for watching.